Avantika University is conceived to be a distinctive learning center, and project-based education framework is developed by a team of passionate and proven professionals. Today we have with us Rohit Lalwani, who is Director of Industry Relations. He actively mentors entrepreneurs and is passionate about making ideas happen. Currently, he has launched a podcast called Avantika Designeering series, where he speaks to design and technological leaders. We have already sent invitations to join the podcast, and we will be again sending emails regarding the same. So today, Rohit would be speaking on Designeering, the industry outlook. Over to you, Rohit.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for inviting me to do this webinar. And I hope I'll be able to add value to all the individuals and all the aspirants who are attending this webinar. I thought one of the interesting things how we should do a webinar is start it on a fun note. So let's do a very interesting thing. Let's run a small quiz with all of you, where I'll toss you certain questions about design and technology, and in the comments tab, in the chat tab, or in the Q&A, you could start. You could mention your answers. While you mention your answer, mention your name, your email ID, and phone number as well, so that in case you are the selected winner, Amit can get back to you. So are we guys ready? Amit?
Yeah, we have around 80, more than 100 participants right now. So people are raising hands also. I think these guys are ready. I think
great. So I see Himanshu, Abhinav, a lot of you who've raised your hands. It's good.
Yes.
So you could also Google your answers, though I don't think you need to do that because they're very, very simple questions. And we thought that let's see your understanding on this. So let's make this a little fun and engaging session. So my first question to all of you, and the winner would get Amazon voucher. The first question is, who is the maker of AI and Photoshop, a company that makes these products? Can you name the company?
Oh my
okay,
God.
I see a lot of answers coming in.
Lot of answers, yes.
Interesting. Make sure that some of you also drop in your name, email ID, because we'll have to get in, we need to get in touch with you to ensure that you get your vouchers. All right, interesting. So let's move on to second question from here. Yeah, I see a lot of answers out there as well, Amit. About 23 people have responded. Good. So let's move to the second question and let's understand, your viewpoint on that. The first page of a website is termed as. What is the first page of a website termed as? Oh, that is pretty fast. I'm now wondering whether all the questions are way too simple. Okay, interesting. We have some answers with spelling errors also. All right, good. So quite a few responses that have come in. Let's move to the third question. Well, one of you actually wrote default page, and that's not the right answer. The answer that we were looking at was home page that some of you mentioned. And yeah, the answer to the previous question was Adobe. Let's ask you the third question. And who is the father of the computer? Who is regarded as the father of computer? Name that individual. Okay, Kirit, Mudir, that was way too fast. No, Keshav, Manas, yes. Vivek, yes. Jay, yes. Whoa, that's like the answers are flooding in. All right. Interesting. And let's ask you the last question before we do the session. And don't log off in the middle, because towards the end also we are going to have the small form of quiz. So I
mentioned on this. Great.
So let's ask you the last question. Amit, are you with me?
Yeah, sure.
Great. So the last question is, what is the full form of GSM? Right. So we say, how much is the GSM of the paper? What is the full form of GSM? Come on. Okay. No, it's not global system for mobile. No, it is not. Do not copy paste. We are talking about paper here. All right, that is there. There are quite a few right answers coming in there. Rajiv, Aditya, you have Ria, okay, Ananya. All right, great. So I think that was an interesting kickstart to the conversation, and I thought that it's beautiful to engage with all of you. And while we were doing this, what we spoke about were a lot of organizations and a lot of companies, and that's my role at Avantika. So essentially, I looked at I'm the director for industry relations, and the role is very simple: to engage with industry partners, corporates, thought leaders, and ensure that we are able to bridge the gap between industry and academia. Well, that last line actually sounds very stale, because everyone speaks about that. But then, I think that it's very important, because there's a huge wide gap between what industry wants and the kind of talent that we are producing, all universities across the world. Especially in India, we've read a lot of reports that it's a challenging problem, and that's where we've come up with certain important elements right from the start. As far as Avantika University is concerned, and we said that how can we put in some of these elements, in terms of our operations, in terms of our activities, which will benefit the industry in terms of developing a talent for them, which will help our students who take admissions here in terms of grooming and developing their skill sets as per the requirements of the industry, and so on. So what I'll do is, next few minutes I'll share some of my thoughts, on how I look at industry relations and things that we do. Then I'll hand it over to Amit to toss a few questions that he had for me, and finally I will hand it over to all of you to ask questions as well. If I talk about, I don't come neither from a technology background, neither from a design background. I've been a business guy. I did my commerce and then management education. Have been doing business all my professional career. But while doing all of these things, the two elements that I consistently encountered were engineering and design. I've been coaching entrepreneurs and corporates on business model design. So that's where I interacted with design. Or when it comes to technology, the last startup that I successfully failed at was a tech startup, where we created a platform like OLX. So that's where my understanding, my interaction, my encountering with both these domains have been. And I think that as far as both these domains are concerned, there's a lot of interesting activities happening out there. There's a lot of interesting action that's taking place. And we've tried to incorporate some of these things as far as our education program at Avantika is concerned. As Amit also mentioned, that we recently launched our podcast as well, that we call Avantika Designeering series, where we invite such kind of thought leaders also from the world of technology and design to share their thoughts with us. In fact, we coined this term called as designeering, which is where we think that the world of design and engineering meet. So today, if you look at a product like this, right? So when you talk about an Alexa, is this a design marvel or is this a technology marvel? Who's the individual behind it? And I think that it requires element of both the individuals to create a product like this. And that's where we said that only putting yourself in a bucket or in a silo as a designer or as an engineer is not justifying the role in today's dynamic world. And to survive the tides right now, you need to have understanding, you need to have respect, you need to have the sensitization to both these domains. And that's where we said that let's coach our students to become designers rather than only designers or only engineers. In today's time, I believe the students are much ahead in the game. A lot of times, I as a faculty keep learning from my students, especially on the tech side, on the design side. So, which means that there's a lot of exposure out there for the students. There's a lot of learning which is happening over the internet, over so many interesting channels that you have. I think today's students are going out and connecting much better. To give you another classic example is I see a classic example of students interacting with corporates and senior leaders on LinkedIn, and I think that's a very beautiful aspect. So while students are moving ahead in the curve, I think as faculties, as academia, we are working towards keeping the pace, and that's how we are trying to even bridge that gap. I think outside classroom education has taken center stage, and there's a lot of learning happening, even beyond the classroom sessions today. So as far as my experience of last nearly 3 years at Avantika and interacting with design and technology leaders, I think all these domains are highly changing. The first and foremost challenge that I see with a lot of undergraduate students who aspire to take admission with us, I see a lot of you, coming and telling us that, hey, I want to be a user experience designer. I want to be a communication designer. And my suggestion to all of those individuals is that I think what the industry requires is for you to be a designer first, right? So while you are in your undergraduation course, make sure that you understand the elements of design, how it works. Go out there, explore yourself, while you work, understand how this works in the real time. And then from there, start talking about that in future, which area do you want to specialize in. So some of the speakers that you would hear, in fact, the speaker whose podcast we've launched today or whom we are going to be launching 2 weeks from now, you'll see that either they don't come from design school, are yet top designers today. You will see either they come from design school, they learned maybe industrial design or communication design, but are very big, user experience designers today. And this fluidity, this adaptability is very important. So while I talk about this, I discovered that when you talk about the world of communication design today specifically, the opportunities that I see is much beyond graphic designing. I think communication designers are becoming brand managers, marketing managers today. In fact, one of the interesting happening even in the COVID environment is communicating, to the world digitally using digital mediums. And these are certain places where the communication design students come in with a very fine blend of understanding of marketing, branding, and how do you use design to communicate better. The second set of people, which a lot of people are again excited about, is the domain of industrial design. And if you look at industrial design, in fact, it's moved from just creating mechanical product to creating products that are simple, easy to use, easy to dispose. In fact, if you look at leadership teams in the corporate world today, there's a new designation called as product managers. And these product managers are the one who come from the background of being industrial designers, and they are shaping up the products that all of us are consuming. The third one, where you see a lot of action and a buzzword, is user experience, both in the offline and online world. So when you talk about the offline world, I think today one of the major ways that a restaurant differentiates itself from another restaurant is the kind of experience that it offers. If you talk about, Inox or PVR Gold today, it offers a kind of beautiful experience to people who go to watch cinema there. And of course, on the online world, I think user interface and user experience is so much spoken about. Um, and I think today both these elements are coming into how can individuals interact in a simple way, do their transactions in a simple way, uh, interact with businesses in a simple way. That's where user experience is coming in. The fourth is the world of fashion. I think it moved very smartly beyond just creating fashionable clothes and accessories to moving on to creating very beautiful products. In fact, we have a use case of it at Avantika University, where we have a lab sponsored by an organization, and we are developing interesting products with them. So it's moved on to creating smart bags, smart jackets. We are talking about smart shoes, and all of this, where you create a product, an element of technology which can create a better usability for the customer out there. And if you were to talk about engineering, I think it moved, if you were to talk about the 70s and 80s, it was a very mechanical led a course. But today it's moved to being an information based course. So there's been a drastic change in what engineering today is all about. Today, engineering or technology is solving all sorts of perennial problems that we have, and it is helping us create solutions that are scalable, sustainable, easy to use in all phases of life. In fact, I see beautiful usage of it during the COVID situation, where we are raising funds, where we are, we are not paying because we don't want a physical connect. We're not paying cash, but we are paying digitally. And this is where technology is coming in. And I think AI, ML, all of these buzzwords are creating interesting impact out there. So we see that if you were to reflect back on the last 4 5 minutes, you'll see that there is a very interesting blend that is taking place between design and engineering. They are merging, they're coming together at a very interesting place. And at Avantika, we are working towards developing this kind of talent. And I think the industry is quite excited about it. So that's what I wanted to share. My one last bit that I want to put in. What does an industry really want from an employee that they want to hire? A lot of time the answers would come in. They want a great, industrial design student. They want a great product design student. I don't think that that's necessarily the right answer. In fact, if you spend time with business leaders, this wouldn't also figure in their top three answers. While definitely you are expected to be a graduate, what you are expected to have are three important things. First, are you someone who is a curious individual? Do you have a curiosity for learning, to doing new things, to creating new things, to understanding about things around you? Second is the enthusiasm. Do you have the energy, the zeal, the entire go-getter attitude to keep doing things? And I think the last one, which is very important, which we've also discovered beautifully in the last couple of days, is adaptability. So if these situations or the gears around you were to change, are you adaptable to these situations? So do not define that what an industry requires is, someone who's specialist in a particular area. I think industry requires a talent who can solve their problems, address the solution or the challenge or the work which is that they are in, And while they want an individual to do that, they expect you to have these important three things in you as an talent. So that was a small little brief by me, Amit. Happy to take your and the audience questions from here.
Yeah, thank you, Rohit, for your guidance. I have jotted down few questions for you.
Sure.
Now this is coming from me, and then after that we will be opening the question and answer session and that chat box for the attendees also. So
Okay.
my first question would be, what do you suggest? Working with small studio or large corporates?
Uh, I think it's while answering a question like this, I think there's no one common answer. We need to understand that as individuals we have very different personalities, and you need to discover that where does your personality fit in? What is it that excites you? And how do you discover that? You discover that by experimenting. So while you are doing your 4 years of education, find out by interning, by doing live projects, by interacting with a lot of corporates, that where does your sweet spot lie? Does your sweet spot lie into working with a very large company and being one of the employees in those teams? Or are you someone who is a hands-on individual who would like to, put in their hands into things, dirty their hands, create things, contribute to making ideas happen? So if you are someone like that, a small studio or a design studio would excite you more. So there's no one, unfortunately, common answer to it. You need to discover who you are, experiment with yourself, take experiences by the virtue of internship and other activities in both these, both sides of the coin. And once you've identified that what excites you, where is it that you have most amount of fun, where is it that you learn the most, that is something that you should go out and pursue. I already see Amit few questions in the chat box, but yeah, we'll complete your questions and move on to them.
Yeah, even I was observing it. We have got a couple of questions already, but we will take it. Definitely, we are going to take it. My next question would be, how does an internship or work experience impact a student's post-graduation options?
So, what an internship or a work experience does to an individual is it adds to your exposure. It builds your maturity. It builds an outlook to how you want to do things. So I did a lot of internships while I was in my undergraduation as well as in my post-graduation. In fact, I had beautiful learnings in some of those companies. And it's important to do that because it shapes you as an individual. It shapes your thought process. It adds on qualities of working in team, understanding how to solve a problem. A lot of times, as young 20, 22-year-old folks, we want to go out there and create beautiful things and, address problems and create solutions. But that's not really the case. I mean, the guy on the other end is running a business, and there needs to be certain kind of sustainability aspect attached to it. So go out there. I think it is important to to go out, take certain work experience, intern, learn from other people. I always keep saying that learn from other people's mistakes. And as far as you are concerned, go out there and make new mistakes, and that's where it will add value to you. So don't create the same mistakes that someone else has created, right? And that's where I feel that yes, internships are and placements both are important aspects.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, Rohit, Avantika University is located in Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh. How do we ensure campus placements there?
Ah, this is an interesting question. Um, does it really matter in which part of the world we are based out of today? I think what is important, if you have someone who's talented, at any particular location, the companies want to hire good individuals today. And they will go out there to identify, because everyone wants good, talented team members and people to be on board with them. I don't think, industry per se, that there is even a question. In fact, some of the best education institutes that you see not only in India but even in the world, you'll see that they're based out of remote locations. And why is it so? I think it is important to provide a very good learning environment, right? While I did my education in Pune, and with due respect to my alma mater, I passed out of a fantastic university as well. But there were a lot of distractions. There were a lot of things that probably if they wouldn't have been there, I could have focused much better and done things maybe in a different way. So I think as far as Ujjain is concerned, it provides a very good environment for people to come, learn, collaborate. I think the entire concept of designeering with the blend of learning things like entrepreneurship that I myself teach, I think those are certain important elements. So while I was talking, I just read a question on the ticker that what is the USP of Avantika? And I think these are our USPs, that it is important for you to go out and learn and take experience in an environment that provides you good education, an environment that does not distract you with multiple other things, keeps you focused. The other thing, to answer the question in other way directly as well, we do a lot of consistent interaction with the industry. So, for example, and by the way, all of these things that we do are student-led activities. So the culture at Avantika is by the student, for the student. We all will play facilitator role, but while doing all of these things, I think the students gain immense amount of exposure and learning. So today, while we do the podcast show, that I would recommend you to go out and see, the right from the design, logo, selecting the kind of speaker, what are the things. In fact, within the show, right in the start and towards the end, you'll hear a voiceover. All of those are students out there behind these things, and I think that culture sets us apart. The culture where students take up things, they experiment with ideas, we support them, and I think there are beautiful outcomes out of it. So coming back to where I was, is every Friday we organize something called as I Connect, or I here stands for I as an individual as well as I as industry. So how do we connect? And we keep inviting speakers. You can go on to our website and you'll see, I think last year out of 52 weeks, we had 48 interesting sessions. Speakers come in, they are top leaders from companies like Swiggy, companies, very, very large companies. People come in, they share their thoughts, not only coming in, but our students also go out. So they go out in forms of attending, events, collaborating. Last year, our students created an installation at Hyderabad Design Week. There were two groups of students that created, installation at Kala Ghoda Festival. So it's not only inside out view, but there's a lot of outside in view also that comes in. We keep organizing webinars. In fact, some of our webinars we would be opening up to the public also. Last year we had Avantika Designeering series, which were physical interactive sessions. We have internships. So our students after the third year of education go in for a compulsory 3 months, internship. But not only that, we've got students who also intern after their first years, after their second years. So out of enthusiasm, they take a project and there's a lot of learning that keeps happening. So if you see, there's a consistent engagement right from the time you enter into Avantika till the end with the corporate, which makes this entire journey very, very simple, very, very fruitful. And even if we are based out of Ujjain, it really does not impact us in any format. I think it is the similar experience that you would get if you were based out of Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Kolkata, or any other city of our country.
Fine. So my next question would be from the industry perspective per se. How does industry perceive an Avantika student vis-a-vis other universities?
Uh, I don't think that it's a right thing to compare immediately with other universities, and it's not about them or us or stuff like that. I think what really becomes exciting in this entire thing, connecting the dots to my previous answer, is the industry is looking at the fact that these kids are taking initiative of doing interesting things, interacting with industry leaders, and developing relationships with them. So, what is really impactful, what is really working, is these kind of conversations, which is making it much more beautiful, engaging, and fruitful experience for these students out there.
Okay. So now I would look forward for some suggestions, some specific suggestions that you have
Sure.
for students taking admissions for design and engineering courses this year.
Um, I think uh, be yourself. I think in the current situation, there's a lot of panic. Um, if you look at a lot of successful individual folks, um, how many of them you necessarily remember, which were the institutions that they passed out of and what they've done in their education? I think what is important is what you do out of yourself. So even while you join Avantika, I'm sure that you will come in, as a student, uh, and you will work towards molding yourself. And we as Avantika or any institution can provide you a platform. I think what you do out of yourself at these places is very important. So I first understand that in the current situation, since too much there's too much of unpredictability, you might be concerned of how things would be. Do not panic. I think there is a ecosystem. There are set things, and I'm sure that we will all do well, and we will all work towards our goal. I remember the story of my ex-co-founder, who was ex-CEO of Idea Cellular. He passed out of some government school in Punjab, went on to doing engineering from Punjab University. He then started working with NTPC. In due course of time, he joined Idea Cellular. He became the CEO of Idea Cellular. Then he became CEO of Aditya Birla Group. Then he became CEO of Suzlon. And I remember asking him the same question. And he said that, Rohit, what is important is no matter which place you are in, I think what you do out of your life is very, very important. So that's my suggestion. Don't, you know, don't expect that the institutions or the universities will do everything for you. I think it's about you and the institutions or the universities, and not just about the university.
Thank you for your words of wisdom, Rohit. My next question would be, what is the industry outlook for design and technology students in terms of career, of scope and growth?
I think for this, and I know I've said this too many times, but for this, you should definitely listen to our podcast show. I think you've got industry leaders answering these questions.
Oh, that's great. That's
Um,
great.
and if when you move around today, as I said, that today, as someone who came from a commerce background, I need to have the sensitization, the learning, the understanding of of technology, and that aspect is very, very important. So I think the industry looks at it positively, And when we ask them the question, you could listen to their answers on our podcast. So whether it is on Spotify, Hubhopper, Castbox, or in about a week's time, you could listen to it on other major channels also like Apple and Google as well. You would see industry leaders answering these questions rather than someone like me giving you a direct answer.
Okay, Rohit, we are flooded with questions actually. So I do have some questions from me also, but I think I should switch on to Q&A box out here because everybody is shooting questions to us. The first
Sure.
question the first question which I am going to take comes from Mohan Das. Now he is asking, does a recruiter from the industry actually look at the college more or the students' work more?
Uh, so I would say it is balance of both. You definitely cannot discard, the talent part of it. Ultimately, no matter the best of the institution, but if someone you are interviewing is not a good talent, it doesn't work. At the same time, I think the institution aspect is also very important. So when say at Avantika, you've seen industry leaders actually looking at the kind of work that we've been doing, the kind of, in fact, over a period of time, the kind of relationships that we've built, we've never seen that there's a challenge in terms of placement conversations, internship conversations. In fact, even during the COVID situation, our students have achieved work from home internships, and a large number of them are still paid internship aspects. So I think what is important is a blend of both, though largely tilted towards what you do at the institution. At the same time, the institution is also important.
Okay, now this is a somewhat a tricky question from Himanshu Patel. How do you see future of designer compared to a software engineer in digital work?
I think I see a lot of blending happening. So I'll give you an example. Who did user experience design 20 years ago? I think it was the same software engineer, right? So while you were coding, while you were designing the website, you did the user experience part of it. There wasn't a separate degree or set of people called as the user experience designer. But the world is now evolved, and the world demands specific skill sets of user experience, skill sets of understanding or creating beautiful user interfaces, and that element is important. So I think that if you were to talk about this, engineers are there to stay, designers are there to stay, but both of them need to understand the interrelationships between both these fields and try to develop a skill sets in both these areas.
Okay, so I will take this acknowledgement. This is from Sankalp Gupta. He is writing very informative. Thanks. One request: will it be possible to upload this webinar on YouTube? I missed some part of it. So yes, Sankalp, we will be uploading it and we will be intimating you accordingly. And thank you for your comments. So I'll come to the next question. Uh, this is from anonymous attendee. How is design engineering different from product innovation management? Yeah, Rohit, shall I repeat it?
Yeah, yes, I couldn't hear you, Amit.
Yeah. So the question is, how is design engineering different from product innovation management?
I think what is being blended into this is very, very different. I think product innovation management would be more towards the business side of conversation, whereas when you're talking about designeering, it is talking more towards the creation side of it. So a product management as a course would more come in at a post-graduation level that individuals would do, whereas designeering or while they move up the corporate ladder. Whereas when you talk about designeering, It would more come in at the undergraduate level, or even while you were to explore post-graduation. In fact, in post-graduation, something beautiful that I've seen is a lot of people who do not necessarily come from the background of design. We've had students who've done BBA and then have come for masters in design. So that's a beautiful element.
Okay. Next question is from Amulya. He is asking, can you please share success stories of your alumni?
So you could, a simple way to answer the question is go on to our website. Our students have, our student have been placed with companies like Mindtree. They're working with companies like Capgemini, Larsen and Toubro, very, very large organizations, building careers. All these students and their details are available, on our website, and you can see, how they're doing in their careers.
Okay. So the next question is from anonymous attendee and a little bit confused. So he is asking, dear sir, thank you so much for your insightful and knowledgeable session. From an industrial point of view, what design domain would you suggest to students who are confused on what domain to choose from?
I think first and foremost, understand that it's good to be confused, right? So if you are confused, you're a normal child. Let me put it that way. So it's absolutely all right. And when you come into an institution like Avantika, the first year is the foundation course where you will be exposed to all sorts of fields and areas. And that is a time when you will discover that which is the area where your interest lies. Which are the kind of, for example, there are so many industry relations conversations that take place and iconic sessions that take place. Which is the one that you got most excited about? You got most inspired from? And these would be cues that would help you understand that which area excites you more. And even if this doesn't happen, you did not worry. In fact, your faculties, your mentors, your seniors, as well as the leadership at the university, like the Dean School of Design, all of these would be there to help you and guide you to understand that which area or which is a field where your calling lies, and maybe you should explore it in depth.
Okay. So many of the students are asking Avantika specific questions, and that exactly matches with the last question which I have jotted for you.
Okay.
It is anything specific that Avantika offers to ensure that the skills of its students are up to date as per industry standards?
I think multiple things. And as I said that right from the inception, we're quite hell-bent on taking the industry perspective. And we identified that what are the gaps today that the industry sees in the talent around, and how do we bridge those gaps? So a couple of things. Let's start with one of the challenges that a lot of us have a challenge of communication or expressing our thoughts. So at Avantika, we have a dedicated Toastmasters club. After this webinar, do go out and Google what is Toastmasters. And it's a global forum out there, which helps you in building your confidence to communicate and express your thoughts. So we've got forums like these. We have a fellowship program with an organization, a Bangalore-based organization that's doing a lot of beautiful work even during the COVID situation called as Reap Benefit, with whom we run a fellowship program where you learn civic skills, right? So imagine a beautiful blend of developing good civic skills, engineering, design. I think it blends you, all of these things blend your skills, your outlook to be a better professional. Apart from that, we've got a couple of industry-sponsored labs. our students keep going out. We have a CII Yuva chapter where we have multiple sessions on, on personality development, communication, expressing yourself, so on and so forth. So there are multiple such activities. There are internal forums also. We've got a movie club, we've got a photography club. So we've got all of these interesting, uh, channels where you can go out and explore yourself, expose yourself to be a better professional.
Okay. So this one is coming from Shriya.
Yeah.
Sir, I am interested in fashion industry. Hence, I wanted to know which one is better, fashion design or communication design.
Shia, as I mentioned that, you need to discover your calling in terms of where does it lie. Few suggestions that I have is one, read up a little to understand both these domains well. Second, start interacting with people or start going through what is it that a fashion designer does and what is it that a communication designer does. See which are the areas that excite you. Maybe go on YouTube and watch certain videos, okay? Interviews of fashion designers and interviews of communication designers. And these cues will help you in identifying your areas of interest. Moreover, while you come at Avantika, the first 6 months are common courses that, fashion design students, communication, or all students go through common courses. And these common courses or the foundation courses also give you a direction in terms of where the tides are. So please note, it's okay to be confused. I think all of us want to be super specialist and we want to know answers to all the questions in the world, and that is not how it works. I think I mentioned an element of curiosity. Go out there, discover what excites you, and then develop that further ahead.
Okay. So Rohit, there's something very interesting which has come up. This is from Avi Kulkarni. Now
Okay.
he's writing good job focusing on designing. We at WW, his company's name, are building innovative startups with student interns working from home. We would like add some design interns to the team. Can you connect us to some?
Oh, excellent. Can you please note down that detail and share it with me offline? See,
Yeah,
that's how where magic happens. I
absolutely,
think you saw it
absolutely.
live right now.
Yeah,
That someone who's just listening to the session and he says that, wow, this is something that adds value and this is something that we are excited about, and we would want to collaborate and see. That is how the entire situation works, right? So I think that was great. I think it's exciting.
absolutely. And thank you, Avi Kulkarni. We will get back to you.
Absolutely.
Next question, I think, yeah, Amulya is again asking any tie-ups with any organization or labs, curriculum tie-ups kind of stuff?
Multiple of them. Go to our website. Multiple of them. We're doing some really exciting things. So there's a very large company based out of Bangalore called a ShopX. Very, very, very large organization, reaches out to a couple of lakhs of retailers. We are doing some interesting product development work with them. There are a couple of other organizations with whom we are doing some interesting work. We've got a design NGO at the campus, which we call as ABLED, where we are creating customized solution for people with special abilities. There are more such interesting conversations happening as we also talk. There are a lot of forums that we are members of, like the World Design Organization. So some of this information is available on our website, and at any point in time, if you have any questions, you could reach out to any one of us. In fact, social media makes it very easy for all of you to connect with us. So you could just search Rohit Lalwani, Avantika University on LinkedIn, and you can find me and we could interact there. Multiple other platforms, and happy to even offline specifically address some of those questions as well.
Thank you, Rohit, very much. And I think we have a little time left, and the major agenda which is pending is the second phase of question and answers.
Oh, good. Thanks. So people, are you all there? Are you all excited?
Yeah, they are very much there. They all are raising their hands and they are looking forward for your next questions.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's ask you a question from the world of design. What are the primary colors of light? Come on. No, that's a wrong answer. Yes, Mudit, that was right.
Yes.
Okay, Kali Prasad, that was wrong. Ajit, I think you need to relook at your answer. Kriti, your answer is correct. Come on, others. Vibgyor is not a right answer. Black blue is not a right answer. Yellow is not a right answer. Yes, three, but which three colors? Good. Nimish is right. There are a lot of people who give it. Okay, good. And the answer to that is RGB. Okay, good. So some of you have written that. Good. Let's move to the next question that I have for you. Okay, very simple one. A sitter. A computer will not boot if it does not have this. What are we talking about? Okay, OS. What is OS? Operating system. Okay, Nimish again. Okay, yes, Keshav. I see processor. Okay, OS. Urja, what is OS? Okay, great. Operating system. Okay, good. Let's ask you another one from the world of colors and design. Oh, Amar, your answer is brilliant in terms of creativity. Amar says electricity, and that's pretty interesting answer. So if you have no electricity, your system is not working. Okay, good. If you go out and add, so I'll give you 4 options for this, and you have to choose the right answer. If you add white to any color, what does it make? Tone, hue, tint, or shades? I saw one answer among all of them. Okay, another one. Okay, Anand, I think. Chitra Ranjan, I think. No, Shriya, you were wrong. Okay, it's not hue. Okay, I see a couple of correct answers. The answer to that is shades. And let's go to the last question, the one which is related to designeering. And the last one is, in the computer hardware, CPU stands for Central Processing Unit. What does GPU stand for? G as in Goa. GPU. What is GPU in hardware? Okay, Mudit is right. Archit is right. No, you have to answer PU also. I just saw the first word there. Nimish is correct. Bipul is correct. Okay, and we have a lot of answers now. For all of you, I hope I've been able to add value to all of you. Yeah, just note the answer, since you said no idea, the answer to that is graphics processing unit. Okay, great. So Amit, I hope I was able to address your and the audience questions, and this was helpful.
Absolutely, Rohit. This was very interactive and a very exciting session. We look forward for more session in future in times to come. And thank you once again. I would also like to thank our technical support, Vasudev, who has been with us for all the time. And I request Vasu to please jot down and please save all the chat box messages which we have got, so that we can take out the correct answers, and by the method of draw of lots we can select the winner because the prizes are limited. But the answers, many of you have given the correct answers. So thank you all of you. Thank you all of you for joining. And we will be sending you more invites for more webinars and sessions which we will be conducting in future. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.